All right, guys, Mike Savas checking in outside of the Tuscany region. We're in Chianti at Podere La Fornace. We're gonna learn all about goat cheese today. Let's get dressed up and into the laboratory. All right, we're here learning how to make goat cheese today in an artisanal way. We're here with Amanda and Valentina. They're gonna show us the two different processes that you can use to make artisanal goat cheese. Process number one, let's get started. So we're here with Amanda. She's about to add the rennet, which is an enzyme, to water. Then we'll put the water and rennet mixture into the milk, fresh goat milk, and stir it up. So we just checked the temperature and found that it's a little bit warm, so she needs to cool it down and make sure that the perfect internal temperature of the goat milk is exactly what she needs. She's an expert scientist. She knows exactly the temperature of her bacteria and what it needs to acidify properly and what time of day. So now she's in there with the thermostat, mixing it and checking the temperature simultaneously. So we're gonna check out the second way to make cheese, which has less rennet and has more of an acidification process to it. All right, we're learning about the two different processes to make fine goat cheese. This one is an acidification process. It has a very small amount of enzyme, different temperature settings, and they add mold to it, which gives it a very soft spread, almost like you can put on bread. So let's go look at what they're doing in the other section. But for right now, you can see this is a big temperature gauge, and that's the mixer. We have the goat milk being mixed in here, and let's go to the next step of the process. So after a day of acidifying, the cheese comes out of that refrigerator mixer bowl into this tub, and then they scoop it from this tub into these various containers. After 2 days of this going in a refrigerator, it looks like this. This one has some spices added to it. This one has no spices. After 15 days, you have a beautiful brick of cheese right there. Oh, and you can look, that's the kind you spread on toast. What she's doing here is ensuring that the coagulation process of the cheese takes effect perfectly. She had to stir it to ensure that the proteins formed a bridge between the enzyme, but now she had to stop the milk so that it has time to settle, but also ensuring it doesn't get too hard and calcified. So it's very exact. You can see how slowly she's stirring it now, just giving it a little bit of movement to ensure that bridge forms properly. Now that the goat milk and the enzymes are coagulating, let it sit for 30 minutes. We come back and it should have more form, ready for shaping and cutting and adding our artistic design to the process. So while we wait for the cheese to coagulate, we're gonna take a look inside the barn where the baby goats are and where the mothers typically get milk. They come up this ramp here, they get into position where they're fed their most favorite food, and then these suction cups here are lightly placed on their teats, and they milk them until there's no more milk for that day. They loosely pop off and go back to their pens. Right now they're out grazing and enjoying the sun. So we're gonna go in and meet the babies now. These are her kids. These are our future cheese-producing queens of Tuscany. These are the babies, and one day they're gonna grow up and be the best cheesemakers in all the land, won't you? The most delicious, healthy cheese around. We have the 3 males here who get to sleep with, lucky for them, 70 different female goats. They mate once a year. The gestation period takes 5 months, and they're only milking the goats between April and October to ensure that the mother care for their children and have enough milk to support them until they're about 18 kilograms. So you boys are lucky. We're gonna go back to cheese making. Towards the laboratory. All right, we're back in the laboratory now with Amanda. We are 6 minutes late. So what's happened is the cheese has coagulated improperly. Luckily, she's an expert and can fix it. Take a look and see where we're at. So she's cutting through the outside layer now to remove the coagulation from the side of the basket here. So in just 30 minutes, it's gone from literally liquid milk after the coagulation process to a very, very soft form of cheese. So now that she's cut through the cheese, she's taken this piece of equipment called the spina, she's put it in and she's stirring it around, and you can really see the chunks starting to form here. We're mixing the cheese right now. So it's already been broken up into small pieces. And next we're gonna remove it and start turning it into actual cheese blocks. So the next step of the process is the cheese is coagulated, we've cut it up, we've strained it and let the skin form in the vat, and now they're removing it using these sifters that are catching most of the cheese, letting the liquid spill through this porous region, drips down into this bucket. That'll all be used later to make ricotta cheese, but for now you're just filling up these cylinders, and now it's starting to look like something you could take home and serve at a dinner. So we're nearly done with the cheese making process, but now we get to taste test a little bit. Oh my God, that's like so fresh. You could just pour this on top of pasta and it would taste perfect. It's so soft. It's like virgin cheese. Not salty, just the texture is soft and supple, and it's pretty incredible. It's like eating a cloud, like a marshmallow cloud. The last step of the process, she's taking it out of the strainer by hand, trying to separate the liquid from the cheese itself. Yeah! Goes in this hand, down here, and now
Perfetto.
Wrapping up our cheese making process, you flip each vat of cheese 7 times, wait a few hours, then you put it in the freezer and let it sit for several days, and eventually it comes out looking like that. If you want to take cheese making one step further, you take it to ricotta. Any liquid that's left over after the cheese has been removed from the liquid is placed back into the vat. The pH level is raised by adding a bit more water, and then we're gonna heat this up to a certain temperature in a fire, and the ricotta will boil to the surface. So the reduction process has started. Our ricotta is close to boiling. It's at 90 degrees Celsius, super hot. So it should have risen to the top now, and in the process, separated from the water. So here we are now removing the ricotta top layer that's been reduced and heated to 90 degrees Celsius, almost 200 degrees Fahrenheit, into these small cups, which will then be cooled, put in the fridge, and served as delicious ricotta in no time. And what you have is ricotta. Ricotta is not actually cheese, it's whey and protein. So all the ricotta is in here, the leftover liquid is in here. Now we're gonna take our ricotta and put it in the freezer, and in 48 hours, it'll be ready to eat. So we've wrapped up our cheese making experience here in the cheese lab. We have primo sale, the first cheese that comes out of the vat, and then our ricotta, which is the leftovers when the whey and the protein separate in a beautiful reduction. Amanda has shown us everything start to finish. She is such a legend, an amazing story, an amazing person, and the level of detail and love that has gone into this cheese is truly unparalleled. I've never seen anything like it. I'm completely re-inspired. I pretty much want to retire as a cheese farmer myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go try some of this now, come on. So we're here with the owner of the farm, Valentina, and she's gonna take us through our first ever cheese tasting experience.
Different type of cheese, same milk.
Same milk?
Yeah.
Same goat milk?
Yes.
Okay.
We work with raw milk, we don't pasteurize.
Okay.
So inside my cheese you can find everything like microorganism, mold, bacteria and so on.
So we have 5 different types of cheese here, and we're gonna start with the freshest one so it doesn't destroy our palate with all the over flavoring. So let's get started. So this is fresh goat cheese. Oh my God, that's so delicious. This with a little bit of jam or honey, and it's all you need. No preservatives, no nothing. Some microorganisms in it, some bacteria, good bacteria. Our second type of cheese, cacio ricotta. This is the ricotta we were making in the cheese laboratory. It has a very faint scent, nothing too strong here. Oh, but the taste is very different. It's almost more feta-like. It's more crumbly, more texture, a little bit more sour, and it definitely stays in your mouth longer. Yeah? So our third type of cheese here, called cacciota. This definitely looks more like what you would think cheese to be. It has some holes in it. It has a crust on the edge, which, as we found out, is literally painted on with water. Let's give it a go. This is like the kind of cheese you typically eat with crackers or get on a cheese plate. A little bit harder, but still very soft. Number 4, caprese. This one has a nice crust around it. I just found out you only eat the crust of cheese if you know where the cheese came from. Otherwise, it should have chemicals in it, especially if it's made in America. Let's give it a go. Yeah, this has more flavor than the last one. Similar color, similar texture, really deep, rich colors and taste. This is great. You could almost eat this like an ice cream bar. We have our final cheese here, toma lactica al herbe. So lactic cheese with herbs, and that scent is super pungent. You can smell the microorganisms alive in there right now. And you can taste them too. Crumbles, super creamy, super rich. The herbs cut through the cheese, really fine balance. You can taste the spices in your mouth, even after the fact. And you can see that crust just peels right off. So nice. Let's pair it with some honey and call it a day. We're wrapping up our day at the cheese factory at Podere Le Fornace, a beautiful local farm who has the goats right there, the cheese factory right there, and beautiful cheese tasting platter right outside. We're gonna end it with an espresso and a farewell. On to the next Italian cuisine adventure. Please, if you like the content, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. We'll see you there.